In the late 1800s, Omaha, Nebraska was a booming western city that was soon to become #1 in the world in livestock meat production. In the early 1900s, nearly 80% of Omaha's population of an estimated 125,000 people had livestock-related jobs. These workers were primarily of European descent, and from 1910 to 1919, their participation in labor strikes and the First World War left many vacancies at the meat packaging plants. To fill the void, company owners vigorously recruited blacks in the southern states. There were ads in papers in Omaha and throughout the South that beckoned blacks to come north to better wages and living conditions. The wages that blacks were paid at the Omaha plants were lower than white workers, but it was significantly more money than they could earn in the South. Hundreds of blacks began to replace white plant workers, and by 1915, a burgeoning black community was established near the meat packaging plants in South Omaha and the near north side of the city. A new African American newspaper called the Monitor began circulation in the summer of 1915. The Monitor was published weekly with news stories, columns, and advertising that was vital to establishing a strong sense of community among blacks in Omaha. By 1920, over 10,000 African Americans were living in Omaha. Because of the rapid growth in the African American population and employment situations at the meat packaging plants, racial tension began to build in Omaha. This tension culminated in the summer of 1919, when one plant worker in particular met a horrible fate.
This was the period of red hot summer. This was the period where what it is, you'd already had the riots in St. Louis, other places, and now you're having them in Omaha. What happened was they had a woman say that she had been molested or had been sexually abused by a black man, and that's all that needed to be said.
On September 25, 1919, Agnes Lobeck identified 40-year-old Will Brown as the man who attacked her. Brown was then arrested and taken to the Douglas County Courthouse. Before Brown was even identified, a civic storm was already brewing in Omaha due to a series of inflammatory stories published in the Omaha Bee and struggles for political power between racketeer Thomas Dennison and Omaha's mayor Edward Smith.
What's interesting is that the mayor attempted to keep them from taking Will Brown out of jail, and he suffered from an inch of his life being taken from him. And that was really the intent from the very beginning, to really kill him, as well as to bring about the racial tension even more so.
On the evening of September 28, 1919, a crowd of an estimated 5,000 to 10,000 people gathered outside the Douglas County Courthouse and demanded that Brown be handed over to them. Inside the courthouse, a frightened judge and other prisoners sent a note down to the crowd, saying that they would surrender Brown. The bloodthirsty crowd could not wait and rushed into the courthouse to seize Brown. Once in the hands of the crowd, Brown was beaten, hung from a lamppost, and shot more than 100 times. Actor Henry Fonda, at the time just 14 years old, witnessed the horrendous event from a second-story window at his father's printing company across the street from the courthouse. The ghastly melee ended with the burning of Will Brown's body. An Omaha World Herald photographer captured one of the most infamous photographs in American history. After the riot, federal troops were called in, and for 2 days, Omaha was under martial law. Even though over 100 people were arrested in connection with the riot and the murder of Will Brown, no one was charged. For Omaha's black community, an editorial picture published in the Monitor spoke volumes. Will Brown was buried in 1919 in an unmarked grave in Powder's Field at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Omaha. 90 years later, in July of 2009, a man from Riverside, California, Chris Hebert, who has no ties to the city of Omaha and has never visited before, was moved to pay $450 of his own money for a marker for Will Brown's grave. Hebert said that he watched a special on actor Henry Fonda, which mentioned the riot and how it affected his life and his acting career. Hebert also said that he hopes people will stop by the headstone and reflect on what happened to Will Brown in 1919, so that we may never let ourselves sink again to this level of inhumanity.
All right, shalawam. First off, I want to say all praises to Yahawashi, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and shalom to the elect out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. This is GMS Precepts. This is Nazar Khad. This is the third edition of Never Forget, and this is the history of a Judite, a Israelite down in Omaha, Nebraska, by the name of Will Brown. Now, I know a lot of brothers recognize that picture at the end there, which is in the book Without Sanctuary. That's as you can see what happened there. They hung him. All right. Well, first they dragged him out of the jail. They beat him to death, hung him, and shot him over 1,000 times. Oh, I'm sorry, not 1,000, 100 times, man. So they really did overkill, man. They did overkill on us. Matter of fact, let me get the scripture in Ezekiel real quick. This is Ezekiel 35:5. It says. This is Ezekiel 35:5. It says, because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword, right? And who did that to us? Okay, who had a perpetual hatred against you Israelites, against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans? The so-called white man did, man. Esau did. Edom, the people of Edom did that. Okay. All right. Matter of fact, let me start at 3. Okay. This is Ezekiel 35 verse 2. Fuck. Let me start at 1. Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. And that's what the men of the Lord are doing right now. They're setting their face against Mount Seir, which represents America. Okay, because in Mount Seir, okay, was a place where the Edomites dwelt. All right. And the scripture is saying prophesy against it. Prophesy against this kingdom right here. And that's what the men of the Lord are doing. They're prophesying against the kingdom of Esau. Right? It says, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. The Most High is against you, damn crackers, man. The Most High is against the Edomites. It tells you that in the Bible dictionary. And it gives you various verses, and it also mentions that Edom, the place of Edom, okay, or the people of Edom is a place of great future judgment. Okay, and that didn't happen yet. The judgment of Esau did not happen yet. But if you are watching and praying and you're watching the news, you see what's going on. You see that time is coming close. We're coming close to the time of Esau's judgment. Right? It says, and prophesy against it. I'm sorry. It says, thus saith the Lord power, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And the Most High is gonna make the place, okay, the people of Mount Seir desolate. Is definitely gonna make America desolate, because he's gonna allow these other nations to shoot their missiles over here. Okay, the Most High is gonna allow his weapons, which he created, pursuing Isaiah, what's that, 54:17. His weapons of warfare, man. The Most High created those smiths, okay, to create the technology of the ICBM missile for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to bring down the kingdom of Esau, right? And as I continue, it says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, right? Verse 5, it says, because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. And they have a perpetual hatred against us, man. You see, one thing, and that's the next scripture I'll get, one thing, and one thing you can give credit to Esau with is knowing they know who their enemy is. Okay? At least they know who their enemy is. Their enemy are the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's only our people that wants to love every goddamn body, especially the white man. Two-thirds of our people love Esau, and in turn, Esau don't love you. Right? So they know. So they know that they know who their enemy is. It's only our people that don't realize the enemy is the people that two-thirds of us, two-thirds of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans love so goddamn much and want to be like. Right? So it reads, verse 5, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their calamity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. All right? So blood or death, in other words, death is going to pursue the people of Edom. All right? Because they will get carted off to slavery. All right? They will be see, all the curses that happened against us are going to go right back to them. All the curses that they put our people through, it's going to be applied to them. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick in Deuteronomy. Bear with me. Deuteronomy, I believe it's 30 and Deuteronomy 30 and 7. Oh man, numbers. Give me a second here. Here it is, Deuteronomy 30 and 7. It says, Deuteronomy 30 and 7, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So that's all. It says all. It didn't say just one or some of them and spare some of them. It says all our enemies, right? Showing you that the Most High, the Most High is telling you that you Israelites have enemies, man, and the Most High is gonna avenge us. The Most High is gonna recompense their wickedness upon his chosen. You see, the Most High tells you have enemies, but you damn wacky tacky Christians who don't want to read those verses, man. The Most High is telling you who the enemy is. Okay, but we're of the understanding that 2/3 of our people are not going to understand that. They're not going to be with the program. Okay, and that's the program and the gospel of the true gospel of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. Which part of that gospel is the so-called white man, all right, the people of Edom going into slavery and paying for all the wickedness that they've done to us. Okay. All right. So what I have here. Okay. So this is something, matter of fact, let me get this scripture in Ecclesiasticus, because the title of this series is called Never Forget. Okay. Because you know, Esau made that damn idiom or that fucking saying, time heals all wounds. Okay, so if that's the case, they should forgive just the so-called Arabs for taking down the towers, right? Don't they say never forget? Well, I thought time healed all wounds, man. See, time heals all wounds. They want to throw that at you when it's referring to their own wickedness. Okay? But when you're talking about the Arabs or their enemies, it's never forget. You see? Big fucking hypocrite. So this is real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus 3:15. It says, "That which hath been is now, and that which is to, and that which hath been, I'm sorry, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. The Most High requireth that which is past." So the Most High is going to require all the wickedness that you have done to His people, man. Okay, and that's referring to the people of Edom and all the other nations, but Edom is on the top of the Most High's hit list. That refers to all you nations that put or had a hand in the downfall of the Israelites. All right, so the next scripture I'm gonna get is in Isaiah 14th chapter. Okay, because if this doesn't piss you off, then you ain't really this after watching this video, and then I'm gonna put an article in the description box as well. If this doesn't piss you off, then you ain't in the right spirit, man. Okay, watching this is supposed to piss you off, and I like watching, I like watching videos like this to remind me who the enemy is, man, and to perfect my hatred against our enemies, and especially especially against the Edomites. So, all right, so this is Isaiah 14:1. I'll start at 2. I'll just get to the point. This is Isaiah 14:2. It says, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel." Right, the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord. Now, the house of Israel is referring to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And it says, and shall possess them in the land of the Lord. That land of the Lord is the land of Israel. Okay, and it says for servants and handmaids. So the Most High promotes slavery as long as the correct people are in slavery, and the correct people that are supposed to be in slavery are you other nations, and the rulers are the Israelites. Hence the name Yahawah, Prince of the Power. He is a Prince of the Power. Okay? And it says, "And they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." The ones that are oppressing us are you other nations, but right now we're under subjection under you Edomites, or the so-called white race. Okay, so the Most High is for slavery, and all the wickedness that you have done against us is going to be applied back to you. Okay. All right, and that's it. Matter of fact, and since I got one more scripture, because I had made a statement saying at least Esau knows who his enemy is, except you people, man. Now, I'm referring to 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They do not know who their enemy is. The Most High is telling you who your enemy is all over the scriptures. Okay, but you people, 2/3 of our people don't want to recognize that. Okay, so it says, this is Ecclesiastes 12:10. "Never trust thine enemy," in Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 12:10. "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Okay, the Most High is telling you, you gotta our people, in order for us to get out of this situation, one of the first things you have to do is recognize who the enemy is, and our enemy is the so-called white man. That's why we can't. That's why we gotta, after they serve their 1,000 years of slavery, we gotta put them away, man. We gotta put these. We gotta get rid of the Edomites. Okay, so that's that. This is Never Forget series as concerning Will Brown, and you can find this book, and you can find the picture and the story and many other stories, which is real recent within the past 100 years. This happened in 1919. This was in 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Okay. This happened less than 100 years ago. Okay, so you could find it in a book without sanctuary. All right, so until the next show, this is Nazar Khan, GMS Precepts. Until the next show, shalawam.